Now I'm pleased to introduce our two school co-presidents, Ryan Lamb and Eleanor DeHoog.
I'm standing here. I'm standing before you with my failures and growth to get here, a testament to how the class of 2024 has evolved as scholars and as people. We are now at the summit of our Andover life. I also stood before the class of 24 a little over 3 years ago in the chapel, giving a speech for the next year's lower representative election. Now, truthfully, in those 2 minutes on stage, I had felt the burning sensation of 300 pairs of eyes boring holes into my cheeks, my nose, and even the back of my head. I could hear my pounding heartbeat, and I was sure I could hear my classmates' snickers. Despite hours on FaceTime with my mom and dad practicing, after saying my name, I stood, frozen, letting 50 seconds of awkward silence claw into my face. Yes, 3 years ago, I stood before you, and I had felt overwhelming fear. You see, months prior to that spring, I would spend my fall nights in Rockwell watching the YouTube videos, 7 Steps to Making Small Talk, or How to Ensure There is No Awkward Silence in my room before bed. So 3 years ago, I was utterly crushed, humiliated. In fact, I thought that my embarrassment would define me, because even putting my name forward was a monumental step. And my failure seemed to affirm what my guidance counselor from middle school had told me before I came here. You are not a leader. Stick to classics and chemistry. Ironically, the only words I managed to spit out before shamefully walking off the chapel stage was a quote from Steph Curry, who said, "Success is born out of faith, an undying passion, and a relentless drive." To me, this quote means that becoming better is born out of your own dedication and drive. So you see, my father is a Vietnamese refugee, and my mother grew up with no father. When you grow up with a mom and dad like mine, it is impossible not to be in awe of them every day. And then when I came to Andover, I grew closer to the brother I adored, Nick, who seemed to excel at everything and be the greatest at everything. I met his best friend, Sean Meng, my prefect, who had himself become the co-president. Take a moment to think about who your role models have been and what they have shown to you. Parents, our amazing faculty, fellow students, and staff. Back then for me, I didn't want to just emulate these people. I wanted what they had. I wanted it so badly. So embodying Steph Curry's quote, I decided to work hard to be better, to constantly learn from my failures, to lean on the support I had immediately around me, and to grow in my confidence and as a person, because I wanted to be my role models, who seemed to always leave me in wonder Then 1 year later, I was so thankful to have been elected upper representative by you. I'm sure we each remember our own first victory here at Andover. Afterwards, I wanted to take an even greater risk, a chance to serve this community on an even bigger stage, just like how I imagine my role models might have. Thank you, Noor, for being the best co-president, and thank you, 24, for trusting us. I am so glad to have been able to give back to you all this past year. But truthfully, the scale of representing and listening to 1,200 students would have petrified me even 2 years ago. I've never shown it, but my heart pounds every time I get up to speak. And it may or may not be pounding right now. But I'm standing here before you because of my obsessive desire to be like my role models, through hard work and constantly trying to improve. After being given this opportunity to spend time in every corner of campus, I have understood. We all have this in us. The yearning to be better than ourselves, the craving to improve, and the determination to succeed. I surveyed several teachers and asked them to describe a student from our class. How they describe you truly shows how all of you have worked so hard to be the best you these past few years. A teacher in the Relfield department says, "This student has a clarity of purpose where they're choosing to make a life for themselves for their own authentic reasons rather than due to dominant pressures. A steady and constant kindness." A math teacher says, "They are uninterested in the final grade and seek an understanding with an authenticity so great, it makes it easy for them to learn." A language teacher says, "This student will brighten any dark corner of the world." Lastly, a teacher says, "They have found something in the world they really care about, and they want to share it and be great at it and know everything about it. The world needs more people like them." Wow, you are incredible. You are people whose effect on each other and on your families and on me is nothing short of life-changing. And most importantly, the work you put in to become those people has been the direct result of your burning aspiration to be better. So we are now at the summit of our Andover careers. Graduation, success, having worked hard to become you. But I still feel that we have a climb ahead. We have so much more to do and the ability to be so much better. I implore you, class of 24, to never stop improving. Let us all carry Steph Curry's quote forward, this passion to improve and be better. Even if you freeze on one big stage, keep going. Just like we will carry forward our 300 paper or our first roommate experience. Carry forward the passion and dedication that has served us here and that we have developed here. I told you that in freshman year, I had so wanted to become my role models. And that had motivated me to continuously improve. Now, is our chance to become role models to someone else and pave our own path. Let that drive us now. I will become someone who will change the world. Let that drive us now. In fact, think about whoever you want to be and whatever you want to do. Let that drive us now. Overcome our fears and evolve as people, all fueled by the relentless drive that we have developed. And soon in the future, we will all be able to declare once again, I'm standing here. I'm standing before you. Standing on a new summit. Thank you.
Class of 2024! We have made it. Today's commencement celebrates the past years we've spent together, and it marks the beginning of new roads ahead. I'm sad that this is the last day that we'll spend together in this space, but I'm excited to see all the roads that we'll travel, all the summits that we'll climb. In anticipation of new beginnings, I've been looking backwards. And no, graduates, I'm not talking about when we spat in tubes or got our nose swabbed to test for COVID. I've been looking back 196 years ago. Andover's Constitution was published in 1828. And it's an old document, but I believe that there are many values that still ring true today. Our Constitution reads that Andover was founded for the purpose of instructing youth, not only in English and Latin grammar, writing, arithmetic, and those sciences, but more especially, Andover was founded to teach us the real business of living. And so I sit here thinking, what has Andover taught me about this real business of living? I spent this fall and winter sculpting hands out of clay, and I spent the spring throwing discus about 40 times a day, 5 days a week. In 10 years, I'll look back nostalgically on these memories of Andover, but at the same time, I know that these will not be the skills that I use on a daily basis for the rest of my life. And yet, these are the exact skills that are a part of the real business of living. See, for each hand that I spent 6+ hours sculpting, another one broke. And for every 50 discs that I threw in practice, I was maybe only satisfied with 3 of them. I'm sure many of you can relate. Between balancing our schoolwork, our sports, our club commitments, our lives, we have each learned how to persevere. We have learned how to keep putting in the hard work when things get tough. Andover has taught me that the real business of living is exactly this. It is about learning to persevere. It is about learning to keep going when things get tough. We are all just so lucky to have learned what it means to persevere while in this bubble at Andover. How grateful we should be to have learned perseverance here at Andover, so different from so many people whose life circumstances make our understanding of perseverance seem trite by comparison. Just as much as today is a celebration of us, class of 2024, it is also a celebration of those who have helped teach us this real business of living. With the deepest sincerity, thank you to my dad for letting me make this place my home for the past 4 years. To my teachers, my coaches, and my mentors, thank you for pushing me to grow and for believing that I would. To my friends, to my classmates, it's been fun growing up with you. It's been fun learning from you. And thank you for trusting me enough to help lead our class over the past 4 years. To Ryan, thanks for being the best co-pres I could ask for. It's been a blast. And thank you to all the people like Mr. Nate and Billy and Leo, the people who we might not think to thank as often as we should, but who are as every bit as important to our time here at Andover. It was my parents who imparted on me that to whom much is given, much is expected in return. Andover, the people here, have given me so much. It is now our responsibility and our moral obligation to give back in return. Now, I believe that our moral obligation is not just to Andover, but it is to every quarter of this world. I look at you, class of 2024, and I see rocket scientists, chief executives, diplomats, generals, and heads of states. I see parents, I see artists, teachers, doctors, and coaches. I see future George Bushes and Olivia Wildes and Bill Belichick's. I see people who want to change this world for the better. This is our moral obligation graduating from Andover. And it is not a new ask. The more popular quote from Andover's Constitution is this: "Though goodness without knowledge is weak and feeble, knowledge without goodness is dangerous. Both united form the noblest character and lay the surest foundation of usefulness to mankind." Not unlike times past, there is unrest in many quarters of the world. And just as in the past, we will persevere. So let's use this knowledge of the real business of living. Let's use the skills that we've learned at Andover and apply them not just to knowledge, but also to the good. Referring to another constitution, I know that our class, the class of 2024, will form a more perfect union by giving back in this way. Class of 2024, as we look forward to the future, I can't wait to see the places that we'll go. You have been my family for the past 4 years, and at our 10th and 15th reunions, I cannot wait to meet the families that you will have made for yourselves. Like they say in my hometown of New Orleans, my wish for each and every one of you is to laisser les bon temps rouler. Let the good times roll. Thank you, and until next time, Eleanor DeHoog.